Hey everyone, how you doing? I'm Coach David Mathas, and I want to welcome you back to another Team Biolayne Coach's Corner. Today, what I want to talk to you about is how to properly walk yourself through a reverse diet using some of the very principles that I use with my own clients. This is going to help you not only have a very successful reverse diet, but it's going to help you maintain better body composition along the way. And I'm going to give you a few tips and some things expectation-wise that you want to think about and remember during the reverse diet. First off, I think it's important to understand reverse dieting does not mean you're going to lose weight. Okay, I think there's this expectation because of that rare group of people that do lose a significant amount of weight reverse dieting, that people feel like they're going to do that. That is not the norm. That's the exception to the rule. Now, is it possible? Can it happen? 100%. It can. Should you go into it thinking that that's going to be you? No. But that's okay. I'm going to explain why. Not all weight gain during a reverse diet is going to mean that it's body fat. So some things that are going to increase your weight, just naturally increasing your water, your glycogen. Usually as you're eating more calories and everything, your carbohydrates are going to go up. And for every gram of carb you take in, your body's going to hold about 2.7 grams of water. So it's really important to keep these things in mind that when you see the scale move, it doesn't always mean that it's body fat. In fact, if you follow a lot of the principles that I'm going to be talking to you about that I use with my clients, you limit the amount of body fat. Now, reverse diets take a while. Okay, this isn't a 2 or 3 month thing for most people. In my professional opinion and what I've seen working with almost 500 clients at this point throughout the years is that the majority of the reverse dieting clients I have last between 6 months and a year. Now, I don't want that to scare you, and I want to explain why it needs to take that long. Number one is because we want to do it slowly. Like I talked about before, we want to make sure that we're not just packing on 20 or 30 pounds of body fat for no reason, just to get your calories up there. The second reason is because it's not just about getting your calories to a certain level. It's also about spending enough time not being in a calorie deficit. And that's where I feel like most people start to cut their reverse dieting short, is because they start getting a little bit uncomfortable. There might be a little bit of weight gain and they're like, hey, I want to lose body fat. I don't want to put weight on. And they're not grasping the fact that not all weight means body fat, and that you might need to sacrifice a little bit of weight in order to bump your calories up, get to a healthy place so that you can then efficiently and effectively go through a fat loss phase later on down the road. What to expect with weight gain on a reverse. These are the principles that I use as a coach with my clients. I look to gain no more than about 0.25% total body weight increase per week. Now, for example, we're going to use a 200-pound male for this example, taking in 2,000 calories. So they've probably been restricting for a while. They found that their metabolism had started to adapt at that 2,000 calorie mark, which is probably about normal for a man that size. So they decide to go through a reverse diet. Well, we're not trying to pack on 20 or 30 pounds, right? But we may need to sacrifice a little bit of weight within a range in order to get your calories built up so that then they can go into that fat loss phase like we talked about down the road. 0.25% total body weight increase for that male at 200 pounds would be a half a pound a week, 0.5 pounds a week, okay? Now that 0.5 pounds doesn't mean it's 0.5 pounds of fat. Like I said, there's gonna be glycogen, there's gonna be water increase, things like that. And also, the longer you go, the more you're giving your body the fuel, the calories, the building blocks it needs to build muscle. Hopefully you're gonna be building some new lean body mass, and that's gonna weigh something too. So for this example, a 200-pound male that's taking in 2,000 calories, if they gained within that 0.25%, so a half a pound, then what I would probably do is I would look to increase their calories from 1 to 3% total calories from where they're at that point. So for 2,000 calories, 1% would be 20 calories, okay? 3% would be 60 calories. So as you can see, we're not making big jumps here, but this is how we go slow. And this is why it takes a while, because those small jumps are going to add up over time. So if he gained that half a pound right at that 0.25% limit that we're looking for, then I would probably only take him up about 1% in calories. So I would take him up that 20 calories. Now, say he didn't gain any weight, or he only gained a tenth of a pound, or maybe he even lost some weight. Then I would be pushing that closer to the 3% total calorie increase. So more closer to adding 60 calories in the next week. Now, if they lose a significant amount of weight, then you can get a little bit more aggressive with it, maybe even bump it up to 5% total calories. But if you use these parameters and you look at the data, you look at the weight, and you're basing your moves off of how your weight corresponded the last week with the data, then you're going to be able to make more strategic moves instead of just arbitrarily adding 75 or 100 calories every week, which I do see people do. And that is what is going to lead you to excess fat gain. Over time, let's say that you're only gaining a tenth of a pound, 2/10 of a pound every week, and you are able to increase that calorie increase each week closer to that 3%, right? So maybe 60, depending on where your calories are at, maybe it's 50, maybe it's 70 calories for the next week. But let's say you're able to do that week after week. So in just a month, say we'll take 50 calories just because it's a nice even number. Say you're able to increase calories by 50 every week because you're only gaining like a tenth of a pound, 2/10 of a pound, or you're staying even. Well, after a month, that's already a 200 calorie increase, right? Maybe you've gone up in weight a half a pound, something like that, but you're up 200 more calories a day. So then you extrapolate that out to 2 months, all right? And maybe you're up a pound after 2 months, but maybe you're up 400 calories a day. So you see where I'm saying you have to go slow with this and you have to be in it for the long haul. Understanding that bigger jumps are great, but it's not going to do the job because you also need to give your body more time not being in that calorie restricted state that you had been in, which caused you to need this reverse diet to begin with. See, makes sense? So these are the principles that I look at when I'm looking at data from my clients and I'm talking to them. First off, making sure that they're compliant, right? So you have to make sure you're compliant, you're actually tracking accurately. For women, for example, you're gonna have those weeks where your menstrual cycle is gonna be playing a factor into it. So those weeks as a coach is where I kind of look at the data and I look at, trends from the woman's menstrual cycle if they've been a client for mine for a while and see, okay, did we maybe gain a little bit more weight just because it's a little bit extra water from the hormonal stuff going on? Or was it because it was truly from maybe a little bit too much calorie increase? Those are some factors that, is very valuable to have a coach that can look at for you and determine. What if you are gaining a little bit too much weight, a little bit more than that 0.25% per week? Now, this is where I think a lot of people are a little confused because you can actually stay at the same calorie range, all right? You don't have to increase calories every week on a reverse diet. In fact, there's going to be times where you're not going to increase calories every week. Many clients of mine have had to stay at the same calorie range for 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks until we saw that rate of weight gain come down as their body adjusted to the new calories, right? And fell within that 0.25% total body weight increase that week. Now, there may be some weeks where you're a little bit over and maybe you lose a little bit, things like that. So if you're looking at it from a broader perspective, we try to aim for about 1% total body weight increase per month as a max, okay? You can also use that as a gauge to see if you're on track. If you're gaining a little bit more than that, you know what? Slow down, be patient, all right? Like I said at the beginning of the video, most reverse diets, in my professional opinion and the amount of clients I've worked with, take somewhere between 6 months and a year. Very few have I had actually been able to get them done in 12 weeks or 15 weeks or something like that. And the reason is because we can't keep pounding exercise and activity and asking a lot of our body and then underfeeding it. We have to give it a break, okay? So use some of these principles I talked about if you're trying to self-guide. If you are looking for help, if you're just completely lost, you can email me, david@biolayne.com. I am taking on new clients, so I'd love to kind of work with you and help guide you and work you through the process, help you understand a little bit more about your body and what's going on and how to properly go through this so that you don't have to do this again. If you've been yo-yo dieting for years, this is your opportunity. Or if you're coming out of a prep, this is your opportunity to get healthy, get your body into a good position metabolically, use these extra calories to increase performance, build new muscle, and then diet down properly and get to where you ultimately want to get to. So thank you guys. You can find me on Instagram @Mathas Fitness, MATHAS Fitness, FITNESS. Or like I said earlier, you can email me, david@biolayne.com if you're interested in coaching. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. We'll be back with another Coach's Corner next week.